Alrighty, this is my final run session for this year. It wasn't as bad as last year's, that's for sure. I'm going to try to mark down some things that aren't working. Like, I don't know why this light's already broken. Like, that's crazy to me. These LEDs shouldn't break that easily. This one's completely bonkers, but I gotta make a list. Marks what's not working. Even some of the uncouplers were acting a fool too, so I'm going to look into that. And then I'm definitely going to make a midsummer run, but I'm not going to do it this big. I'm just going to maybe set up this just so I can have enough room to make a circle or two, because I might even bring out my first ever Lionel set that I still have, that is still intact. It still works very well, actually. Probably better than these. Some of these, gosh, like this track is obnoxious. I don't know if it's even any better than the track I had before, which was 027. I didn't have the O gauge ever. I wanted it badly, but I just never got around to it. Instead, I started collecting these because by the time I started making enough money to be able to collect this stuff again, it was fast track was already a thing, so had to get used to it. I like the way it looks, but it's just a pain. It's amazing how dirty my tracks get just after a few weeks of maybe even a week of running it. That's how dirty the tracks already look. Crazy. There's one of the new cars with the graffiti. The camera car. That's a pretty cool car. I'm glad I grabbed one of those. I don't think they make those anymore. So, I'm gonna move a few coal cars around, play, and then start wrapping it up. And then this thing, I just got this thing, and it won't retract like it's supposed to after the train leaves. I turned on the grade crossing signal. I'm gonna turn off a little bit. But yeah, listen, I'm really happy about this engine though. It's pretty cool. All right. There's that. I'm going to do a quick little run session and then maybe do a time lapse of tearing it down. We'll see.
straight 07 third. Upon value.
Okay, had my fun. It's time to put it away. I got lots of notes, lots of things to do before the next run session, and I'm gonna hope that it doesn't take me so long to set up next run session that I can get a lot more playing time out of it. So I'm gonna hope that the midsummer workshop, or whatever it is that I'm gonna do, I'll vlog it if you guys want to stay tuned later on. It'll probably happen summertime. And yeah, look at like that light's out in there. I got a lot of stuff to fix. I'm gonna start marking things with blue tape. Blue tape means fix. I have actually had quite a few switches broken for a while, I need to figure out what's wrong with them. So there's that. I'm gonna start cleaning up. I still got the GoPro out there. Maybe I'll leave it out there while I'm taking the cars out. That'll probably be one of the last cars I get rid of. Those three guys right there. The last cars that'll probably be on the track. I might try to run that thing, but it's acting a fool. Like, it works fine with the, oh gosh. We got a derailment. Potential derailment. Uncoupled. Oh well, I'm actually done. I'm going to start putting away passenger train first, and then he'll put the other cars away. The engines go last usually, but it's fun stuff. I think I might just park this engine for a little bit because it can't handle all the weight.
0700 today is a GP38-3 running engine light. I'm shooting from the 7th Avenue. Sulphur Springs was once its own town. Where the chain link fence is now, once stood the Sulphur Springs Seaboard Passenger Depot. Fortunately, the structure was preserved and is on display at Heritage Village Park in Largo. Some artifacts remain here. 2 DTC block signs still stand. Before CSX switched to the track warning system, it used manual blocks in its unsignaled territory. When a train got track authority, it got the whole block, usually all by itself. These signs were the feeling markers of where the blocks began and ended. Technically, this is Sulphur Springs Yard, but that consists of a single track that's pretty much a sidewalk. Since the Clearwater cell continues off to the left, the junction switch stays in reverse position, and the interlock north signal shows a green aspect for this alignment. This is a spring switch that allows trail-through movements without lining the switch. 1223 as we look down the hill from Sulphur Springs to the True Truss Bridge over the Hillsborough River. 0701 comes into view. This is the first job we saw earlier this morning. He's dropped his empties in the open yard and is now coming back with loaded rock hoppers for Conrad Yellington in Largo, using that single GP40-2 to haul those loaded rock cars up the hill from the river. Makes the turn west towards Green and Clearwater. One word of caution in Sulphur Springs. There is a sizable bundle of jungle here in the woods just east of the tracks. I walked down here alone, but I will not do that again. By now it was lunchtime, and since I was already up here on Bush Boulevard, I drove east, past Busch Gardens, and into Mel's Hot Dogs. Mel's has been a Tampa landmark for decades. He uses only Vienna beef wings and makes them Chicago style. I say, without exaggeration, this is the cleanest restaurant I think I've ever been in. Every minute it seems like someone is sweeping, wiping down tables. It's clean. I got a chili dog to go. Now, chili dogs don't look all that great when you unwrap them. Mel's are fantastic. Mel has great fries, too. A chili dog, fries, and unsweet tea were $10.49. You can't miss Mel's Hot Dogs on Bush Boulevard. Just look for the Wienermobile out front. One of the staples for Tampa train watching is the Port Tampa Switcher, Y295. He makes the 11-mile trip from Lone Yard to Port Tampa and back 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday. The first highlight of the Y295 tour is the street run through downtown. Street running is what rail fans call it when railroad tracks are buried in street still exists, but railroads don't like it, and cities don't like it, so street running is becoming a rarity. This piece of street running is part of the ex-Atlantic Coastline Main, from Richmond, Virginia to Port Tampa, Florida. Even though it was downgraded to an industrial spur decades ago, mileposts on this segment still carry the A prefix of the A line. The crossing signals through downtown Tampa are non-standard. They're mounted on the traffic signal masts, and there are no gates. Plus, there are apparently no approach circuits in the tracks, so each crossing must be activated by radio from the locomotive cab. The engineer is sending out a specific DTMF code for each crossing. Is the Hillsborough River Drawbridge. Built in 1915 for the Atlantic Coastline by the Scherzer Rolling Lift Bridge Company out of Chicago. It's been in service ever since. This bridge is about the last piece of heavy industry on a riverfront that used to be all heavy industry. Totally cleaned up now and gentrified, the Hillsborough River is home to rowing crews and dragon boat teams, restaurants, bars, pontoon boats. The minarets of Henry Plank's Tampa Bay Hotel are now the sentinels of the University of Tampa. There's no bridge tender here anymore. CSX has put most of its drawbridges under remote control. This one is operated by the bridge tender at the Alafaya River on the Palmetto subdivision from Tampa to Bradenton. The train crew calls Alafaya on the road channel when they're getting close. He lowers the bridge and lets the crew know when it's ready. The 107-year-old structure takes a little over 4 minutes to go from fully upright to down and locked. The deck below the drawspan is so low that only the smallest boats can get under when it's down. The week I was shooting this train, the preferred power seemed to be a GP38-3. Y-295 carries mostly car and boxcar traffic these days. Because all 8.5 miles of the Port Tampa Spur is accepted track, the speed limit is 15 miles an hour. And that makes it easy to leapfrog the train even with Tampa's heavy rush hour traffic. I made it down to the Rattlesnake Spur in time to see him start backing in and got a surprise when he rounded the turn. I knew something was up when I saw him backing up, but heard no backup commands on the radio. Y-295 is apparently now a remote control job. It appears to be in the shakedown period now with several crew members on the train, but RC operations are intended to be done with just one person, so I'm guessing this will be a one-man job soon. Down near the customers at Rattlesnake Point, they set up 2 even blades as Y-295 backed in. This is another area that's gentrifying fast with million-dollar condos. Not a very inviting name. I'm sure they'll soon change it from Rattlesnake to Eagles Trace Preserve and Ranch, some such. For now, though, these 2 industrial customers are still getting rail cars. First, Y-295 works the Cargill Sweetener Terminal. Tank cars full of corn syrup, polyol, or other food sweetening products. I guess that's why none of these cars has hazmat placards. Peering through Cargill's ups and backs here, Cargill has two 500-foot tracks, and that makes the switching a lot easier. When they finish, they pull out to customer number 2, chemical formulators. They also have 2 tracks about 600 feet each, and the Y295 crew will make the same kind of ups and backs here, most of it by remote control.
Meet up again soon, somewhere, out there on the high iron. Children, this is Dan Harper. Hello again, rail fans. We have had a hot summer here in Central Florida. But I managed to get out there a couple of times to see what's happening out there on the high iron. Now, I got a new addition back to the fence collection. This one is from Elvin out of Jacksonville, Florida. It's a good print, reportedly at the old C&O in Michigan. That's a nice piece, and it's much appreciated, Elvin. I only hope my old fence can hold it up. It's cast iron.
In Tampa, the only radio channel I'm picking up is out of the Palm Valley. For the first 45 minutes of this drive up I-75, S-Line Road Channel, AR 66, is quiet. I get all the way to Wildwood before hearing anything, so I pull into the depot area next to the yard. I peek out onto the main line and I see a yellow signal on track 1. That's an indication for approach. You're ready to stop. Wildwood is growing busier every day as it's now handling traffic for not only Wildwood area customers, but Ocala, Makuchi, Dade City, and even Zephyr Hills. After dropping his 4 cars, M441 is pulled down and out of the yard and is now returning to his train on the main line. If M441 were a passenger train, not one full cup of coffee would have spilled a drop in that cup of coffee. Meanwhile, hot rail on track 2. Train L743 is pulling into Wildwood. He's also starting to do some work in the yard. L743 daily traffic originating out of Brown Sand, Georgia. That's near Junction City. It works Waycross, Baltimore, and here at Wildwood. L743 terminates at Winston Yard at Lincoln. M441 over there on track 1, along with its entertaining engineer, is departing for Temp. In another few minutes, the third player at Wildwood today arrives. L739. Traffic coming out of Winston for Brown Sand, Georgia. He and L743 are on daily pay. That's 743's conductor, Ronnie Sally. He's on the ground inspecting all 12,000 feet of 729 as it rolls past. close, you can have a problem when applying brakes, especially in a downhill or emergency situation. Loaded cars could force the lighter empty car to literally jump out of the train. Not good. So what's happening here is Ronnie and his engineer are first sending off the inbound loaded car into one of the yard tracks. Then they're pulling their whole train south past the switch and then shoving that whole train back into the yard track. Not too big of a chore today, as they're all replacing cars. Next, they'll grab the pickup empty, pull it out, and set it out on the main line. And the main line back onto the loan empty. Connect up the air brakes and head south to Lakeland. But I opted not to wait for those last cars. It was almost 11:30. Temperature was heading up into the 90s, so I hit the road again. Rolling north on US 301, I could still hear switching. By the time I got through the villages quagmire near Oxford, it was getting to be lunchtime. A combination of timing and geography made the choice easy. At US 441 301 and State Road 326 is a shopping plaza with Winn-Dixie, a Chinese restaurant, and a great seafood place, Sam's St. John Seafood. I ordered ahead by phone so I could copy the mail on the radio and have lunch in the truck. This is the two-item lunch combo: fried shrimp, fried oysters, and one of my absolute favorite side dishes, cheese grits. You just don't find this very often anywhere except for diners, and I don't know why. The shrimp are fried to a delicate golden brown. Hush puppies are always hot and crispy. Fried oysters, tender and sweet. It was just as good as it looks. Nothing's as cheap as it used to be these days, though. $17.50, including iced tea. Oh well, that's the price of deliciousness. Afterward, I keep moving north. 10 miles north is Citron, home of Walgreens produce. Always a Harlan stop in the summertime. A quarter bushel of green peanuts is now $15, so I got two. I think this is a new type of peanut, though, and they are incredible. I've heard the variety is from Virginia. Don't care, though. I'm already boiled for start to see the new overpass that flies State Road 100 Madison Street over the Florida S-Line. A huge improvement in this age of precision scheduled railroading and giant trains that produce it. I set up off the road near the crossing and I had time to notice that old building that loaded up and surely had a house track to hold at one time. Check this out. An old, like at least 56 years old, piggyback trailer with remnants of its Atlantic coastline heralds on both the front and the back. I'd love to know how it landed here in enemy territory, though. Stark, until July 1st, 1967, was all seaboard all the time. I wanted to get some aerials of this new bridge, but nothing doing. Some restriction would not let my drone take off. So this is what I got. M453, daily Waycross to Winston and Miami. Stark is squarely in the middle of what I call the Big Seaboard. This was the railroad's main line from Richmond, Virginia to Tampa, Florida. I'm glad this piece of the big road has not been abandoned or even downgraded over the years. It was 14:55 in the afternoon, and though you can't tell it from this shot, it was July hot out here. So I loaded up and headed back south. I did manage to jump ahead of 453 and luckily got the drone in the air for this shot at Island Grove. I know of no other place north of Lakeland on the S-Line that you can get a wide open shot like this. It's basically a causeway built out over the sometimes wet, sometimes dry portion of Orange Lake. I had gotten word that this would be the last train until the evening northbound started. So there was nothing left now but to chase M453 back home. I made it through the Ocala and Bellevue traffic light garden relatively easily, but not enough to get ahead of the train. Finally getting next wind through Santos, things were looking pretty good. I even made it through the villages with no problem. I didn't hit a single light. But this is the Big Seaboard, out of the Silver Meteor, the Silver Star, the Sunland, the Palmland, and the Orange Blossom Special. Keeping up with 453 on this track would not be easy. Breezing through Wildwood and then Sumterville, I definitely thought I had it now. Except for this let's go on to the speed limit fellow ahead of me when it looked like things were falling apart at Pansaki. But the chase wasn't lost. Right across that track was County Road 475, which, thanks to I-75 running parallel right next to it, does not have a single stop sign or traffic light. Dodge Ram pickup and knee door. Letting that road get any older underneath us. In a couple of miles, I caught up with the DP engine. I could hear it through the trees. Down into Bushnell, a red signal did get me, but it was a short.
Hit that subscribe button and join us here on the channel every time we post a new video. Please make sure to join us again somewhere out there on the high iron. Till we do, this is Danny Harmon. Out.
Stevens Pass stands at an elevation of 4,600 feet above sea level in the heart of the Pacific Northwest's Cascade Mountains. Large granite outcroppings tower above the densely forested landscape, creating a cool, wet rainforest on the west and semi-arid country on the east. Weaving through this seemingly impassable barrier is a transcontinental railroad connecting the heartland of America with the Pacific Northwest and the Orient. The NSF Railway utilizes a historic route carved by John F. Stevens over 100 years ago. A continuous parade of increasingly long and heavy trains roll back and forth over the beautiful terrain on what is roughly named the Scenic Subdivision. Seven Idea Productions traveled to Washington State in May of 2010 to give you an idea of what you will find along this former route of the Great Northern. Needless to say, we were not disappointed. Witness long stack trains crossing beautiful mountain streams. Heavy grain trains battling 2.2% grades with mid and rear end DP units. Amtrak's Empire Builder passing small farms. United States.
Why can't you fucking slow down the track?
Join us now for Stevens Pass, BNSF Railway's Scenic Subdivision. for our country's first president. This northwest corner of the lower 48 was the last leg of James J. Hill's transcontinental railroad between St. Paul, Minnesota and Seattle. It was completed in 1893. Now part of BNSF Railway's Northwest Division, the scenic south starts at Seattle and heads south north along the Puget Sound to Everett. There it turns east along the Sacramento River into the Cascade Mountains and crosses Stevens Pass through the famous 7.8-mile-long Cascade Tunnel. The line then descends the east side of the Cascades, eventually meeting the Columbia River at Wenatchee. Gray skies greet us at Everett, Washington, the starting point of today's visit to the scenic south. The Olympic Mountains peek through the clouds as we look across Possession Sound and part of the greater Puget Sound. The Everett waterfront is home to Naval Station Everett, the Kimberly-Clark Paper Mill, and the Port of Everett, which includes a marina and a deep-water commercial seaport handling a wide range of marine cargoes. We are overlooking the Pacific Terminal, the port's container yard not far from BNSF's Everett Station. A reach stacker loads an overseas container onto a truck that hurries it out the 9-acre yard. only a slight grade of around 0.5% as they continue their inland journey up the Skyconish River Valley. Later on, however, the grade will stiffen as trains do battle with the Cascade Mountains. Eastbound double stacks race past the 11,988-foot siding at Monroe, milepost 1768.6. To around 1%. We have reached the Cascade Mountains, the most difficult portion of Great Northern's transcontinental railroad, and one that traverses it the most traffic. East of Gold Bar, the line crosses the Skyconish River on a bridge built in 1962. Here is where the old original bridge is still standing today.
The type of layout that I was really looking to build was one that I could operate the train and show the operation of all its sectors. The trains are so much more fun when active and animated and moving. I like the noise. The layout basically allows me to collect the items that I like, to display the items that I like, so that the stuff is there to be seen by myself or anyone else who comes to visit. I really wanted to show people what this stuff was. It's so wonderful. So the department store or the store type layout, where you put the pieces out, is really what I tried to do. I like to operate the accessories, get the trains running at all times, which is just a lot of fun. There's 4 loops here. We have an outside standard gauge loop with a passing siding. Then there is a dedicated wide radius O-gauge loop to run Hudson, Hiawatha's, 752, Union Pacific and such. Then in the middle of it all, I built what I would consider to be the type of layout any kid would have loved to have. There's 2 loops connected by track, switches so that you can run from one loop into the other, all the way in, all the way out, a reversing loop, a passing siding for the freight work that can be done so that you can hang cars down by the trains and by the log loaders. You still operate them while running trains. You get 4 separate trains running at one time. Makes a lot of nice smooth plate noise. Well, right now I'm using 2 ZW type transformers, a 275 watt, and 2 early Z type transformers. The early Z's tend to produce a little more power. With the amount of lighting I'm using here, I need their extra effort, extra electrical, availability to keep up on the layout. Switches, I'm running a set of one set of wide radius O-gauge switches and 6 pairs of standard old 22 type switches, which allows me to take control of trains in and out of the center loops and off and on. The trains that are running are basically an example of what comes off the shelves. The number 1700 Lionel Jr. I just like to run because it's so animated. Most people don't see the train run. I then run in my next line out on the freight track. I run a nice 258 car and a long string of 2600 series cars. A lot of color, a lot of blue flash, a lot of fun. Then on the wide radius dedicated O-gauge loop, I'll usually run either a 260 Lionel steamer with a set of 800 series brakes, but lately I've been having fun running a 762 with a set of full-scale, semi-scale type freight cars, along with our 227 switches cut in on a full set of 2800 series in-place cars. The outside loop has always got some standard gauge on it, and I usually will run a train for about 2 months or so before I get tired of watching it go around, and I'll bring another one down off the board. Presently we're running the number 1775 engine, which is the transition engine. It's actually 390 Lionel, with a series of 500 series freight cars. The layout is 23 feet long by 14 feet across. It's set into a basement, pretty much takes up a wall-to-wall type of arrangement. The flea markets and scrap sales, I was buying quarter plate mirrors. They're usually $3 or so for a 4x6 section. You see that you cut them down to 18 inches tall. They mounted them down one wall. When you look at the frame, you see yourself in the mirrors and you see the layout kind of like from both sides because the mirrors reflect back into itself. The first thing I do when I buy a train is I'll bring it in and I will spend usually a week to 2 weeks tearing it down, getting it mechanically sound again. If it has a problem, I'll repair it. Replacement of wheels, excessive, and it will cost that for that. But all the trains that are on the shelves are all designed and all in my own mind, designed to be run therefore they fail. I want to be more alive about it.
Number 349 flashing crossing signal, manufactured 1929 and 1930 only. Very similar to the Lionel number 7 and 97. Using books is probably the most important component within this book, reference book. They call
my friends started telling me when I started getting into collecting is that the best thing you can do is go out and get the information out of the books. From that knowledge, start to build what you want and collect what you want. This last Christmas, I was sitting down here kind of just contemplating, looking at everything, almost a little overwhelmed by all the different things from the 126 station to the 117, the 115, looking at all the simple streetlights I have. She sat down with the camera and caught me in a very tentative mood, just kind of put my hand against my cheek, looking out, going, what are the lights now?
All right, I got all the freight cars, passenger cars, engines are all off the layout. Now I'm gonna start getting rid of the accessories. I did a final little sweep, marked things that are not working. This is just a light bulb though. I could change that like easily enough when I set this up again next winter. But that light bulb's dead, but it looks like there's a little more effort to change that one. I don't know if it's a light bulb in there or what. I've never tried to open it, but even if it doesn't light up, it's not the end of the world, I guess. This one might not be dead. It might just be loose. Yeah, see? Yep, that's a thing. And yeah, those are like, ironically, like little Christmas light bulbs. It's hilarious. So there's that. There's like 2 uncoupler tracks that don't work. Same old 4 switches don't work. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to fix those. I mean, I'm going to just open them up and try to figure out what's wrong. If something's loose, something's missing, or it's just broken altogether, and then maybe I'll just have to try to replace them. But unfortunately, those switches aren't cheap. They run like a little over $100 a piece. That's why I didn't get like over here at where the yard, this is like the yard engines where all the engines hang out. I just used manual switches. I like accidentally broke one of them over there. I might just try to super glue it. Because honestly, at the time when I was trying to buy this, these were the best option. Because they were cheaper and they were available. For some weird reason, like Lionel was out of like remote switches for a while, out of stock for like ever. But I was able to get those 2 in the middle because I can't really reach in the middle that easily. I figured I could reach those easily enough and I wouldn't use them that much. And as much as I would love to make those electric switches just to have more little controls over there, it's always fun. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe in a couple of years. There's other things I want to get instead. I want to get like this crane and a couple of things, old stuff. I've got a new idea for these. I might try to just screw these into I don't know. This one's pretty solid right here. I want to try to I can't really get it much wider, honestly, when it comes to the main. Not even the secondary main. This is like it. This is how big I can, as much room as I can get. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'm just going to sign off now. That's going to conclude this year's run. And I will do a midsummer like workshop vlog and maybe just set up a simple loop in my very first set I got a long time ago. Let's show you how that one compares to like the ones nowadays. And yeah, cool stuff for tuning in. Hope that you come back later for my midsummer workshop vlog. But yes, this was not as nearly as bad as last year, but I still had to spend a couple days trying to get the track fixed because this crap track. But yeah, good stuff.